Hi and welcome to TMG Movie Reviews. I'm Rick.
I'm Andrew, and tonight it's Saturday evening, and the perfect Saturday night evening review, The Terminator from 1984, directed by James Cameron, with Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese, and Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. Now, I will start off and say I adore this film. I adore this film so much. I've seen it in every means possible. I've watched it on a big screen, I've watched it on a TV, on DVD, on VHS. What I love about it is it's a very simple story. You know, this machine comes down from the future to kill a woman who is going to bear the saviour of the world, really, from the clutches of the Terminators who are going to destroy the world. And
That's simple, really.
it's kind of, I make it sound convoluted. But
They tell it in sort of a simple way, but it's quite a complex story, really.
It's apparently, I don't know, some of you may have seen this, it's based on an Outer Limits episode called the Glass Hand. I don't know how true that is. James Cameron swears he'd never heard of the Glass Hand. Regardless of who came up with it, it's a film that it's very short, it's very sweet, the action is constant, it's quite frightening in certain places. You know, I remember, because I saw this, how many years ago? About 25 years ago now. And I remember as a little boy seeing for the first time the Terminator emerge from the smoke and kill the punks. And I was just hooked. I had to leave the room when the Terminator kills the first Sarah Connor. Because there's that awesome moment where he just goes, Sarah Connor, yes. And he pulls the 45 and bang. But, you know, I could ramble on this film for ages. Let's see what Rick thinks.
Yeah, I really like it. It's the film that sort of made Arnold Schwarzenegger a household name. I mean, you've got, if you didn't already hear about him from Pumping Iron, then, and obviously Conan, they sort of made more people aware of him, but this is the movie that made him. Without a doubt, this is it. And this is the first time you ever said, I'll be back in a movie. Which, for that alone, it needs to be watched.
And it's awesome because when he says, I'll be back, you do not know that he's coming in with the car. And it's unbelievable. He drives the car into the police station, gets out of this car with these two enormous automatic weapons, and just...
That he doesn't need. I mean, he could have walked through that police station and done all that stuff anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I don't understand about this film is, maybe you know, why does he not have any eyebrows?
I do not know, actually.
It's just sort of something that stands out when I rewatch it. I'm like, where's his eyebrows? I mean, they created this sort of like perfect robot with this sort of, he had hair, skin, and they just forgot to put eyebrows on him.
I know, it's weird that. There's so many weird little things. Like, I always wondered, what do you think if the Terminator actually accomplished his mission and killed Sarah Connor? And what is he going to do? Does he go out for a beer afterwards? Does he self-destruct? Does he... I always wondered what would happen.
I've watched the I know this is probably unrelated, but I watched the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series and watched that Terminator completed his mission. He basically went and locked himself in a room and shut down, until he was needed again. So
we'll go into more detail, but just little things like the one flaw for me in the Terminator film, which is it's a funny thing. It's explained in the deleted scenes on the DVD. But at the end, obviously I love the end when the Terminator emerges from the fire as the cyborg, and it does this thing, it turns to Sarah and just goes just like that, and through the red eyes, and they arrive. I always thought it was very odd that they happen to arrive at a hydraulics factory with all this equipment that could destroy the Terminator.
They've got to, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if they arrived at like a muffin factory, it's not going to have the same effect.
Well, it's funny because then I used to think this for years. I thought how convenient. And then on the DVD, there's a little scene where Sarah's on the phone to her mum at a payphone, and she finds the phone number in the phone book for the Cyberdyne factory, and she explains to Kyle, I read about these guys. They've created this new technological warfare machine, and they have a little moment together. But it's just, and I think Cameron should have kept that scene in just because it doesn't really make any sense that she would turn up at a hydraulics factory. I know a lot of people will say the sequel is superior, but for me, this one, I mean, it just works. I mean, for Michael Biehn, I mean, he's just phenomenally good as this man, this wounded man, this man who's just turned up in a world he doesn't understand. He's got that brilliant first scene where he steals the bum's pants.
One of the things I really like about the sort of where they teleport in, and you see the Terminator and he's sort of in that pose, that iconic sort of Terminator pose when the big teleport ball is around him, and then you see Kyle Reese just collapse, and he just looks so weak, and you just sort of, when the first time you see it, you're sort of like, well, he doesn't stand a chance. So yeah, then you realise later on that one's a robot, one's human, obviously. But yeah, it's a really good sort of that visual of them both arriving sort of tells you what level they're on, and he's definitely the stronger, more equipped one.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Cameron's original treatment, which I've read, there was originally two men came down to rescue Sarah Connor, and one of them was impaled. There's a shot when Reese lands. He looks up and there's like the metal staircase. And the other guy was impaled on that staircase and says to Reese, "You've got to do what you've got to do is kill me, go and save her." I don't think it would work with two guys.
No, and one of the problems I'd have had with that is John Connor obviously knows what happens in his past, and why would he keep sending that guy back to die in a fence?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a very, very good point. Why would he send the guy back to die? And Linda Hamilton as well. Both. The sad thing is neither Biehn or Hamilton have gone on to massive careers, but she as well is a part rather like Jodie Foster in The Silence of the Lambs. It's a part that not a lot of actresses could play. I mean, a woman, but who has to grow because they're confronted by this unimaginable danger to their lives. You know, in Clarice's case, it's finding Buffalo Bill. In Sarah's case, it's protecting herself and her unborn child from the unconceived child from the Terminator.
I mean, obviously, this is your favourite Terminator film. For me, Terminator 2 is my favourite film. I actually prefer Sarah's character in the second one, which is a bit more aggressive, when she's a bit more sort of. I mean, she's a victim in this movie, and just in the next one, she's just not at all.
I think because it's interesting how she develops in the film. Yeah, she's young and a bit naive, and then at the end she sort of comes into her own and she destroys the Terminator. And yeah, by the second one, she looks like a psychopath. You know.
How do you think the special effects have held up?
I think the special effects are fantastic. I think Stan Winston's designs for the Terminator are just awesome. I love that scene where with opening the arm and taking the eye out, and at the end where the Terminator's face is mashed up after it's caught in the wheels of the truck, and the skin's hanging off and the red eyes there, and
it's definitely worth watching anyway. I mean, this is the first Terminator. It's one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's, if not his most iconic role.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, I'd give it a 4, but I do prefer the sequel, but you can't watch the sequel without watching this first.
No, I've seen it video, TV, DVD. I'll go and see it. If it's ever screened again at the cinema, I will be first in line to see it. I love it that much. It's a 5-star from me. But yeah, it's a perfect film, and if you haven't already seen it, where have you been? Please see it. It's incredibly cool.
Yeah, definitely watch it.